Crystal Palace deserved to win. There's no doubt about it. Crystal Palace were the better team today. But a question popped into my mind about 80 minutes into this match. And I was thinking about this during Aston Villa's quarterfinal game against PSG. I thought about it slightly when they collapsed in the final moments against Manchester City during the week. And in fact, I thought about it in the last 10 minutes of that game when they decided to not try and win and to sit back. I thought about it when Unai Emery took Marcus Rashford off the pitch when he was flying, when he was cooking PSG. And it made me think about a particular group of Arsenal fans. A particular group that I've had a lot of dialogue with and a lot of conversations with. And it was, do the Arteta outers at Arsenal genuinely still want Unai Emery back? We've seen those arguments. We've seen those debates. Give me Unai Emery. We should take him back. If he had this squad, he would have done better than Arteta. My own club, Man United, I've seen fans scream for him. Bring me Emery. Bring me Emery. He's the guy. He's the man. I'm not sure about that. When I look at Unai Emery, this is the man who beat Barcelona 4-0 and then suffered a 6-1 defeat in the return leg. This is the man who gets Arsenal to a European Cup final and doesn't lose it. He gets thrashed, battered, destroyed. This is a man who 3 times in the last month has, first of all, made a ridiculous decision when on top against PSG, leading on the night, in the ascendancy, takes off Marcus Rashford, kills the game completely. This is a manager, Unai Emery, who against Man City, who are vulnerable, instead of trying to beat them, starts to sit back, brings on Dazarsi, knowing that Doku is going to come on and absolutely cook him on the right, stops trying to attack, settles in, takes the intensity out of his team, and loses in the dying moments. This is a manager who last year finished in the top 4 and is tracking towards finishing 7th this season. And I'm not going to allow what the BBC commentators today be said to ring true. Oh, they've played 10 more games than Palace. So what? They brought in, who they bring in? They brought in Asensio, they brought in Rashford, they brought in Malin, and I'm probably going to forget the name of somebody else. They brought in so many players in January, they couldn't even register them all for the Champions League. I couldn't do it. And for me, I looked at Unai Emery today and I think to myself, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I'm not saying he's an awful manager. That isn't the point I'm making here. But this is someone that I think as soon as the expectations become great, he crumbles. European football with Sevilla and with Villarreal, he wins them 4 Europa Leagues he wins. 3 for Sevilla, 1 for Villarreal. But when you put him into European football with PSGs, when you put him into European football with Arsenal, done it this year with Aston Villa, once the expectation rose, gets it wrong, and suffers some of the most horrendous defeats ever. When he was at PSG, yes, it's easy to win the league. I think for a good manager taking over PSG, you should be winning the league. If you're just good, you should win the league with PSG. But you look at this man's domestic cup record, barring PSG, who literally, they lead a one-horse race in France like you would not believe. It is really average. And then it's the decision-making within it. And it made me think to myself today, I've been asked this question a lot as a United fan. Would you take him at Manchester United? My answer is no. That doesn't mean I necessarily think the person in charge of United at this particular time is better or worse. I'm not saying I wouldn't swap him, by the way, for Ruben Amorim. I was asked this question when Ten Hag was being sacked. I'm not saying Ten Hag's better than him. But does Unai Emery move the needle as much as I want him to? I thought about all the Arsenal fans that around Christmas time were screaming, bring us Unai Emery back. He's better. I thought your argument for wanting Arteta out isn't hindered by this. But why the fuck Unai Emery? Shouldn't you be aiming for better than that as well? And I just watched his team today, and he made mistakes. And I'm bringing it back to today. I spoke to a number of Villa fans in recent weeks about their team. Why Onana is not starting is beyond me. He gives them more control, more power, more speed in that midfield. And you're up against a very powerful Crystal Palace side. He made this mistake in the Champions League by not playing Onana as an example. The last two games are really key because he rested certain players. He took players off in the City game, removed the intensity, goes on to lose. So they're ready for today. But the first 45 minutes of the game, there's no intensity. Zero intensity. None whatsoever. In fact, he doesn't even bring Onana onto the pitch today, which makes absolutely zero sense on any level. The decision-making from Unai Emery, I feel, as of late, has been horrendous. You have got McGinn playing in kind of a left-sided attacking role. When you've got Ramsey on the bench, you've got Marlon on the bench, you've got Maatsen on the bench. Why is McGinn out there? Why are you forcing this player in? I know he's done great for you, but you're forcing him into the team. He should be on the bench. Onana should be in the team. More speed and pace out wide. And that is where, I know they kind of play similar to Man United as 10s, but the way Sarr and Eze drift out wide and then use that pace, they couldn't do it today, Villa on both sides. They could do it with Rodgers, but then they got McGinn on the other side. It wasn't working for them. And it just made me think, I am not saying he's a bad manager. So for anyone who starts trying to clip this up, clip this part up as well. He's a good manager. But I do feel he gets spoken about like he's in the elite category, and I don't think he is. And 3 games in the last month are why I believe that to be true. When the pressure really intensifies, invariably, he doesn't come out on top. His decision-making as of late has been beyond horrendous. And as a comment here says, he's much better than Amorim. That's fine. You can believe that. That doesn't upset me or hurt me. But if we sack Amorim tomorrow, if Arsenal sack Arteta tomorrow, Unai Emery shouldn't be a manager that anybody's discussing. You've only got to go through his track record and history to know there is a ceiling. For me, like Poch, he might get you playing nice football. He'll get you on good runs when nobody's expecting it. He'll get you in the top 4 or get you to a final. When he's in a final, if he's a massive underdog, he might pull off the result. But as soon as you suddenly expect, deliver. I don't think he can do it regularly enough. And that's the point I'm making here, regularly enough. Don't turn this into, but he's won trophies. I know he has. That's why I'm saying he's a good manager. He's done some phenomenal things at smaller clubs. But I just watched his decision-making in the last few weeks. And as of now, my mind's made up. There is a ceiling to this man. And my question, I'll end it the way that I opened it. To all the Arteta outers that wanted him back a few months ago, do you still want him back? I'm asking a question. You give me your thoughts. You give me your opinions in the comment section below. Because for me, even today, like Palace are a good team. I'm not saying they're a rubbish team or anything like that. Right? But Crystal Palace are a team that sit 12th in the Premier League. Aston Villa are Champions League quarterfinalists. They're 7th in the league, but they're 3 points away from a Champions League position. And they just got battered 3-0 that could have been 4 or 5 in a semi-final by a team that far below them over the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. By a manager who's consistently made mistakes. I'd love to get your thoughts, and I'd love to get your opinions on that in the comment section below, people. Get those into us right about now. Whoever